recovery doesn't start tomorrow. Recovery starts right now. Here to help, it's Rated R for Recovery.
We are Rated R for Recovery, broadcasting live from Studio 7 Cafe here in Cape Coral. I am an alcoholic that doesn't drink, I am a drug addict that does not use, and I am a dead man that walks amongst the living, and that is by no righteous deed of my own, and my name is Fletcher P. Henderson.
Hey, Fletch, what's up?
I don't know much.
All right. Well, and I can't decide what I am. I know I'm just a girl who could never say no. I'm an alcoholic. My name's Joy Thomas.
Good evening, young lady.
Good evening to you, too. It is a good evening here in Cape Coral.
Yes, it is. And for those of you who are listening in other countries, sprechen die Deutsch and como se llama and all that kind of stuff. So we are podcasted around the world, and you can hear us on podcastcafe.com live. Podcastcafelive.com, thanks to Captain Brian at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club on Marco Island. All the best in comedy entertainment can be heard there. You can also hear us on iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, and we are a show that talks about everything recovery related, whether it be from the addict or alcoholic side, from the family standpoint, from the law enforcement standpoint, which we'll be getting to a little later in the month. We have Brian Edwards, who's a criminal defense attorney.
Lawyers?
Yeah, he'll be on next week, as a matter of fact. So all aspects of recovery are discussed here. At some point, you'll be able to call in the show and talk to us live, and you'll be able to hear us live streamed once we figure that out. Okay, so the way I start this show usually is that everybody, and I mean everybody, has a mother, a father,
Brother, sister,
a son or daughter,
cousin,
niece or nephew,
aunt, uncle,
neighbor, co-worker, somebody that has in their life that has been affected by drug and alcohol abuse. And if that's the case, we're doing this in front of a live studio audience. Is that the case, studio audience? Raise your hand, yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody raised their hand.
Everybody did.
What do you think about that?
Your prediction was correct.
I think it doesn't really come from guessing, and that's and I don't mean to be offensive, but that just becomes from our own personal experience, just yours and mine.
Yes, and
Yeah.
no one else's.
No one else's. Okay. Our first guest is somebody that is how old are you, young lady?
I am 24 years old.
So you're a young person.
Yes.
I have an ingrown toenail that's 24. Okay, so, all right, so what is your first name?
TMI.
My first name is Alexandra.
Okay.
Hey, Alexander.
Hi, Alex. Welcome to Rated R for Recovery.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Alex, what we're going to talk to you about is what you were like, kind of what happened to you, and then what you are like today, and how you got out of that hole that we find ourselves in. So first of all, tell us a little bit about what you were like.
Well, do you mean, personality-wise or character-wise?
Well, you said to me earlier something about having trouble from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Was there something that caused that, or were you troubled and were trying to find your way out? I mean, just in a general way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I personally feel that I was a much different person in general when I was younger, in my young teenage years, even to becoming a young adult at 18. I was very self-destructive and very disinterested in doing the right thing.
From what age? From what age did this start?
Well, I would say that it started probably around 11 years old.
That's when it started for me.
How did it manifest itself with you?
Well, I slowly became, sort of filled with the ego and conceit, and I just sort of, I knew that I was more intelligent than a number of my peers, and I just took advantage of that, and my teachers and my family, they don't expect that their kids can get in a lot of trouble at a young age, at 11 and 12.
And if they're not looking for it,
yeah,
and if somebody's trying to hide it.
Right. And so I just started to think about, what older kids do, and I kind of wanted to get into partying at that age.
Yeah, I was 11 and I thought I was 16.
Yes.
Really? Oh, really?
that's what it was like, Joy.
So that's
And
interesting.
for me, it was just add alcohol, and then I was prettier, smarter, and funnier than anybody in the room.
Right.
Okay, so that's, see, and young men or boys at that time, and they always say that boys take a long time to catch up to girls.
That's how you find the older boys.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is that why I never had a girlfriend? Okay, so go ahead. So you're 11, and what did you start to, what type of, how did you act out? What was your way of acting out? Drinking, smoking weed? What did you do?
Well, that's when the boys started.
All the attention.
I got a lot of attention from boys my age and boys a little older, and I started getting into that. That was the first time I ever saw pornography. First time I smoked pot and drank, smoked cigarettes.
There's a power that comes with that.
Well, absolutely, Joy. I really felt, like I said, conceit. I was above the rest of the people I knew because I was able to be intelligent, but at a young age, experiment where other kids weren't.
Who first exposed 11-year-old girl to pornography?
Well, actually, it was the young boys.
At the same age, you mean?
Yes, and a little older.
Okay, all right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It wasn't a habit or anything, but
let's just make something clear. What did you come from a stable home?
Yes, my home. I consider myself to come from an average home. Like as you said, everybody knows a person who is an addict. My stepfather. He's no longer my stepfather, but my stepfather at the time had a lot of issues with the drug addiction and heroin and narcotics and things, a long history of that. But I never saw anybody misuse drugs or pornography,
They used it all correctly.
Yeah,
we always get right to the point. Were you anyway mistreated as a child?
Well, I wouldn't say that I was mistreated, no.
Okay, all right. Okay,
And
so go ahead.
So it just started young.
Yeah, I was just interested, I guess.
And then what happened?
Well, the only thing that I guess can happen if a young person or anybody gets really into doing the bad thing, which is that it, unraveled, and I just couldn't function successfully by the time that I was 14, and I ran into a lot of trouble.
You mean, this is new territory for me. Okay, so because at 11 years old I thought girls were gross and all I wanted was G.I. Joes. So and that was me. I wanted to play hockey with the guys when the ponds froze, and we played different things in Army or whatever we were doing.
Lucky.
I'm a product of the early 60s at that age, and
so am I. We're the same age.
I know we are.
And at 11, I was going to concerts and taking anything you could put in my hand.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I ended up that way, but anyway. So, all right. So you say you weren't able to function at 14. Does that mean, well, we're not in the workforce, so you were not able to function in school or to be a friend, to be a daughter?
By the time I was 14, I wanted to drop out of school entirely and live with a boyfriend who was a heroin dealer.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea.
Yes. It was, the most appealing thing to me at the time.
But did you leave home? Did you run away? Did you have...
Nearly I did, yes. I was, a nearby town. I wouldn't consider it so much running away, but I kind of was a rolling stone, in my opinion. I kind of wanted, I wanted to go around where she's laughing at me, But
did you have to be home?
That's right. I was kind of, wanted to go wherever.
We walked all over town. We
Really?
just got out and started walking.
We did too, but I had to be home at 6:30 for dinner.
Yeah.
But, if I were, gonna have a choice, I'd probably at that point be in California or somewhere,
Exactly.
But I was trying to live in a nearby town with a boyfriend.
What age did you start to date or have any kind of contact with boys?
It was the age 11.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so
Common.
and what did my sister? I can only go to what my sister was not allowed to date till she was a senior in high school, and so I guess I just was a different person, a different background. All right, so your parents allowed you to date at 11 years old?
No.
Nobody's allowing
It was not
anything.
allowed.
All right.
At my house,
It was a secret.
At my house, there were no screens in any of the windows because at 10 o'clock when my parents went to bed, we all popped those screens out and went out the window.
And they never knew?
That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'm a little bit flabbergasted. I'll get over this.
See,
Keep
the girls
going.
know.
It's a street chicks thing.
Every
I think.
girl knows.
We'll get to that a little bit later. So go ahead. I'm sorry, Alex. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought up, the family situation, how I grew up, because I have, a lot of blessings from God that I've learned to count. But one of them is my mother, and I don't know how many I can really count above that because.
And did you grow up with God in your home?
My mother is a Christian, along with my uncle has been a very good Christian influence in my life.
So how bad did it? I mean, go to the part where, because this all sounds like a lot of fun so far.
Yeah.
But I mean, go to the part where it's no longer fun, and you realize that you're having trouble and can't function, and then what happened?
Well, I think that at age 14, I kind of had a bit of a breakdown, and I think that. There's forces that kind of pull everybody, no matter what kind of trouble you get into or how deep you are, right?
You had a breakdown. What happened? I want to know what we want to know. What happened? What you were doing? What happened? And how bad it got? I don't care about these forces. I want to know what happened.
I told her in a general way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, by the way, you're listening to Rated R for Recovery, which can be heard on iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, and thanks to Captain Brian at Off the Hook Comedy Club. PodcastCafeLive.com. Special here at Rated R for Recovery at Studio 7 is as follows, and then we'll get right back to Alex's story, but we forgot to mention this.
Specials tonight, the Studio 7 sandwich.
That's what I had to
Try
do.
our famous Studio 7 sandwich. Marble rye, choice of ham, turkey, or roast beef, American Swiss or provolone, served with the secret sauce, or mayo or mustard.
All right.
And the barbecued pork sandwich. The barbecued pork sandwich is homemade barbecue pulled pork on a brioche bun served with pickle and chips. That's $4. The Studio 7 sandwich is $5.
Now, for those of you listening around the world, you probably can't get a delivery. But for those of you that are local, and we broadcast live from Cape Coral, Florida, USA, you could probably come here and get a sandwich. All right. Enough of the special forces or the whatever you're talking about. I want to know how bad it got.
Well,
what was going on?
It got pretty bad. I got pretty psychotic,
How? Tell me.
Well, I just, I started to just lose control over, tolerating what the drugs I was doing. Because I was doing drugs every day.
What were you doing?
Well, I was smoking a whole lot of marijuana.
Okay.
And I was drinking anything.
You didn't tell me any of that.
Well, I was, trying to thinking we were going to get there, so I didn't say anything yet.
Okay.
But, yeah, I had tried certain things. I tried cocaine and opium, but I just, I had misused anxiety meds and things. But I just, at some point, I just couldn't really handle it inwardly anymore. I actually have a diagnosis of bipolar. And I think that around that time it triggered some of those things, and I just, I lost it, and I really had a break with reality, and I had to reach out, and then kind of came this very enormous intervention in my life, actually involving, I was committed into a hospital, admitted rather, and
But this was something that you could actually kind of see once it was pointed out to you, and there was this big intervention, because you said you were committed, but then you said you were admitted. So that speaks to maybe being voluntary.
Well, no, it wasn't voluntary. Like, it was my mother.
Then you were committed.
Yeah, well, I guess you could say that. But I mean, it's been a long process of knowing and understanding kind of what that was like. I'm 24 now, so it's been 10 years, and I consider myself to still be learning, kind of what it means to sort of not feel the shame of, you know what I mean? I don't really look at it like being committed anymore. I really kind of found a lot of,
blessings.
Reality in other people and what they go through. There's a lot of people who've needed mental health.
When people see us go in the wrong direction, no matter how old we are, but especially when we're young, it's a lot easier to stop us and put us aside, maybe go to a hospital or something, so that you could get a little moment of clarity, if it's at all possible. Some kids, I don't think I ever would have stopped. I don't care what they had done to me at the time.
Oh, well, I wasn't prepared at that time to stop. But the intervention, if falling in and out, I've had certain relapses, since. I didn't get born again until I was 18. And so it didn't really stop the destructive behavior. I had to get admitted again. But that was the time that I think God really began that work in my life.
You were how old?
When I was 14.
So that's when that's when the stuff started to get better, or it started to get treated, I should say.
Yes, started getting treated.
Now, you said at the age of 18 you found God, you were born again, so everything was perfect from then on?
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
No.
No. Nothing is ever perfect, John.
Okay.
So what happened after that?
Well, I tried to kind of avoid the whole recovery treatment thing still, because I figured,
who wants to do that?
I figured religion would fix it, but
and it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Not
alone.
No. We need a power greater than ourselves. I've established that for myself, and it's been told to me over and over again that I can't run my own life, that something other than myself has to make these decisions for me. That comes from me with prayer and meditation in the morning on a daily basis, and surrendering myself to whatever I consider that power to be.
Exactly, and a continual searching for the spirituality in my life. I call it other-directed, and knowing that, like the Bible says, to be of the world but not in the world, or in the world and not of the world.
It's the other way around.
Okay, and to wear the world like a loose garment, and that becomes a lifelong process.
And the Bible also says, now this is not, first of all, we do not endorse nor oppose any type of power that you want to hold on to, that you call whatever you want to call it. But there was a guy told me in my very first year, that when I came off the street, that faith without works is dead, and if you're an alcoholic and addict like me, our works is this recovery process. And at that time, it was a 12-step program. And that's what my works were to be. And that I needed to carry that message to other people in order to keep it myself.
And I had to learn that I just couldn't do it by myself.
Amen.
If there was any way to do it by myself, to play the home version of this game, that's exactly what I would have done. But I couldn't.
Okay, now, did you affect any other people your own age, like in high school and stuff like that? What was going on then?
Well, I was a pretty strong influence, actually, on my peers, despite not attending school very often. I missed a lot. I think that I was very outspoken and opinionated, and so at that age, everybody kind of...
You know best.
Interested in somebody who really has to say something, because that's the adolescent tendency.
Right, so you're drinking, you're doing drugs, you're doing other things as well, right? Like what?
Oh, well, I was having a lot of illicit teen sex.
Okay.
I consider it to be. I don't,
I think all right, so go ahead.
If anything, that and anger I consider to be my problems. A bit of a sex addiction.
Well, speak briefly about the anger.
Well, anger can be its own ugly beast, to be honest.
It can be a drug.
Yeah,
and it's very heady and can really get your motor running.
It's a daily thing. I'm not sure how many people really know that it's like, you wake up with it and you go to bed with it, you know? And so being in recovery from that is sort of, like you said, it's part of my works. I think about the difference between, caring about something and being, murderous inside.
So what was one of the first things that you heard that got you into the solution, that rang with you, rang true with you?
It was the very first thing was when I watched The Passion when I was 17. And I opened up...
What do you mean? What's that?
The Passion, the movie by Mel Gibson.
You mean The Passion of the Christ?
Yes, Passion of the Christ.
Okay, which is a movie about what?
It was about the crucifixion of Jesus.
Okay. How did that affect you?
Well, still don't really know how great I feel the movie is, but it was sort of the message of the glimpses that you had of the tenderness of Mary towards Jesus and things that really made you understand that he was dying for humanity, you know what I mean, and not just dying on the cross. And so for the first time I started kind of thinking about maybe how there's a larger problem like sin in the world, you know what I mean? And that was the very first time I ever thought of anything like that.
Well,
you know?
Okay, so how do you start to get better? What's happened? Let's go into the solution now. If what's happened to you, we know what's happened to you, we know how you were brought up, and we know that he's made some bad choices.
Mm-hmm. And you began to hear the word when you were, what'd you say, about 14? You began to hear part of the solution.
Well, it was 17 where I first started hearing the word.
Okay.
But when I was 14, is like I said, God works in our lives even when we don't know it.
Yes.
That's when he started that.
What word did she hear? What do you mean the word? What's that?
The word.
What's the word?
What's the word?
Bird's the word to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Grace. Grace is a word.
Grace.
Grace. Grace is a good word.
You heard the word, so you're referring to a Christian way of life.
A Christian way of life began for me at 18.
But what is the word?
The word. I'm not sure what.
You said I heard the word. What word did you hear?
Oh, from the Passion, 17. I guess I heard that there was some love in the message of the cross for the first time.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you do? What action did you put behind this process to get better?
Actually, I attended CR here.
Celebrate Recovery?
Celebrate Recovery.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I felt that the recovery program was different than what I had seen, from my intervention there, and also from the cliches that you see on TV and movies or whatever. CR is not exactly the same thing. For me, it was more realistic, and that kind of made me feel motivated to attend recovery meetings.
You're listening to Rated R for Recovery. It's a live show that's done every Thursday here in Cape Coral at Studio 7 Cafe. We were very grateful for the place that we have to do this show. And we have specials every week here. You're welcome to come and join us and be part of the live studio audience. We don't care, as we're listening to talking to our first guest, Alex, it doesn't matter how you got clean and sober. It doesn't matter how you changed your life or what method you took. We want to hear it. And so, Alex, now continue. You have attended Celebrate Recovery, and you went through the 12 steps and the Christian principle, the 12 steps and the Beatitudes, and
I got exposed to it very, very good, but I never, at the time, I was 19 and 20, and I just, I didn't still see that because I had stopped doing certain things, I didn't really feel like I needed it.
I stopped that. Now I'm fine.
Yeah, and so I actually didn't really get dedicated until recently. Actually, and this show actually kind of woke that up.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Yeah, and my cousin
What
actually.
A blessing. All right.
So how are you different today?
Different today in so many ways. I feel that I can be somebody who can be trusted to be a role model for somebody else for the first time. Somebody that somebody else can look up to. That has been a tremendous change for me. Comparing my life before and after Jesus Christ, and going through this inward change or what have you.
Right.
And then, is it an ongoing process?
Yes, it really is. And I find out new things every day, and I'm always catching myself and having to pick myself back up and avoid going into a negative place, of thinking and,
Amen.
Okay, so you also can be a role model. That's absolutely true. And what lacks in a lot of different communities is help for the teenage group, is help for the kids that are in high school, junior high school. And I think that's where, you're still young. You can, and young people listen to young people. Young people don't want to see me come in and talk to them.
No, and they also may not want to hear from a young person who hasn't had the same problems.
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Someone who's had the problem can reach someone.
That is a good point. Alex, we'd like to thank you and give Alex a nice round of applause for sharing her experience, strength, and hope. We're going to take a small break right now, and we'll be right back with Leslie from Street Checks and Recovery. You're listening to Rated R for Recovery.
That's going to leave a mark.
Wasn't it?
But not That's going to leave a mark. But not if you bring your vehicle to D-Hab Your Automotive Rehab, your one-stop shop for all auto body work and paint. No job too big or small. With over 25 years experience, D-Hab can make your vehicle look like the accident never happened. D-Hab Your Automotive Rehab is located at 2534 Highland Street, 1 block off Edison Avenue in Fort Myers. So if you have a scratch, ding, dent, or bent, call D-Hab Your Automotive Rehab at 332-1813. Have you been considering a kitchen renovation or bathroom remodeling? There's no one better to call than the professionals at Honey's Construction. Value, beauty, and functionality. Get the right design for your kitchen or bathroom and add significant value to your home. Call Honey's Construction today at 229-4934 for a free in-home consultation. Honey's Construction's purpose and mission is to fulfill dreams and to be grateful for the many blessings we enjoy each and every day. 229-4934. Get the taste of home while eating out. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering. Open daily for breakfast and lunch and located at 2400 First Street in downtown Fort Myers. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering specializes in homemade soups, salads, sandwiches, and desserts. And Gwendolyn's has been rated 5 stars by Urban Spoon and Yelp. Get the taste of home while dining out. Or let us bring the taste of home to your home with our free delivery. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering, 2400 First Street, downtown Fort Myers.
Every Friday night at 6:45 p.m., experience Celebrate Recovery at Grace Church at 13 Southeast 21st Place in Cape Coral. The purpose of Celebrate Recovery is to encourage fellowship and to celebrate God's healing power in our lives as we work our way along the road to recovery. By working through the 12 steps and 8 principles of Celebrate Recovery, we grow spiritually and we are freed from our hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Celebrate Recovery every Friday night at 6:45 p.m. at Grace Church, 13 Southeast 21st Place in Cape Coral.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254. Bust a gut laughing at Off the Hook Comedy Club inside Captain Brian's Seafood and Raw Bar. For tickets, call 239-389-6900. That's 389-6900. Or visit OffTheHookComedy.com. Off the Hook Comedy Club inside Captain Brian's Seafood and Raw Bar. Enjoy the best raw bar in Southwest Florida and a menu of delicious entrees like juicy prime rib and the best seafood, period. Located at 599 South Collier Boulevard, Suite 218 on Marco Island, across from the Hilton Hotel. Visit OffTheHookComedy.com.
J&J Appliance Repair, Inc. is a Christ-centered company of 3 years. We operate our company using God's golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. That is honestly, dependably, and as quickly as possible at a fair price. That's just what we do. With 30-plus years experience, we keep updated through continuing education. We repair all makes and models, as well as install dishwashers and hot water tanks. There's vent cleaning, which includes the dryer. We're family-owned and operated, insured, licensed, and service Lee County. Call 239-440-4452.
Feeling alone? Feeling lost? Feeling helpless? We're here to help.
I watched the needle take another.
I can sing if I want. You're listening to Rated R for Recovery and Neil Young, and me trying to imitate Neil Young, which I can't do. Pitchy, is that what you call it? Is that what you said, pitchy?
Yeah.
That was a song called The Needle and the Damage Done that Neil Young wrote in 1967 or 68. And it's a wonderful song.
It's a great song.
We're Rated R for Recovery. You can hear us on iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, the Facebook. Like us on the Facebook. Go to Rated R for Recovery on Facebook and like us and share us with your friends. And we also have a website, ratedrforrecovery.com. We'll have merchandise eventually that you can purchase to support Rated R for Recovery. We'd like to thank the Studio Cafe in Cape Coral, Florida, located on Telbrado Boulevard, for hosting our show each and every week. We'd also turn the mic over to my associate, my partner, my confidant, Joy Thomas, as she's going to tell you the Studio 7 special of the night.
Studio 7 specials. We have a Studio 7 sandwich. Try our famous Studio 7 sandwich, served on marble rye bread. Choice of ham, turkey, or roast beef. American, Swiss, or provolone cheese, served with our secret sauce, and choice of mayo or mustard, served with a pickle and chips for $5. Or you can get the barbecue pulled pork sandwich, Fergion's homemade barbecue pulled pork sandwich on a sweet brioche bun, served with pickle and chips, $4.
All right, thank you, Joy. My name is Fletch. Starting next week, I believe, will be, or the week after, one of the two, you'll be able to call the show live, ask questions. We're going to have a series of very famous people coming on the show that have said, people from the band Aerosmith will be coming on, and just to mention one. So, we do this in front of a live studio audience. We're going to have some said famous people coming here and performing live for us. So tell your friends, wake the neighbors.
Thank you, audience.
Yeah, and come and make this part of your weekly recovery routine. What I'd like you to do, studio audience, right now is be thinking of a recovery-related question that you might have. Not that we are therapists.
Nope, not doctors.
We're not cops.
Nope, not lawyers.
We are people that speak from our own experience.
We're not counselors.
No, by gosh, no. Our next guest formed a company or formed an organization called Street Chicks in Recovery. I should be a member, actually, but except I'm not a chick.
What is Street Chicks?
Well, Leslie is our guest. Leslie, hi.
Hey, hi guys. How you doing? Thanks, Joy. Thanks, Fletch.
Okay, Leslie. Let's talk about you personally first. What were you like?
Oh my God, I was a lot like the other young lady that was up here. I started also like 11 or 12. First time I got drunk, I was 12, and I fell in love with that right away. And I like getting in trouble just for its own sake. I think. You know, I was a juvie. I'm 49 years old. I'm still a juvenile delinquent.
Yeah, like a wild child.
Yeah, that's why I started Street Chicks in Recovery, because I could never grow up emotionally. So I figured I'd just make money off it somehow, you know. But I'm working on that. Starting a gang of Street Chicks in Recovery. But I think I had a pretty normal family too. Grew up in a rural area, 6 kids. My parents fostered kids. A lot of us were adopted, and I was treated really well.
Were you an adopted child?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And my family wasn't perfect. I think there were some things that could have triggered something that was already in me. About 11 or 12, same thing happened. It's like a switch went on.
Me too.
And I mean, I was just raising hell. And you know, by the time I was 18, you know, I mean, I loved the Lord my own self, you know. But I was Bonnie, and I was looking for my Clyde, and you know, I was going to be a professional criminal, and that's what I wanted to do.
Nice. That's what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yep. Well, what I wanted to be is do exactly what I want to do when I want to do it, and so I felt like that the criminal would be a good job for that.
I think it is. I think it absolutely
fit the description.
Okay, so you're 11 and 12. You start to act out. You start to drink. Then where did it take you?
Oh, it took me not good places at all. I started out just getting drunk with the kids, you know, out in the rural areas in the country. There's not a lot to do, so big keggers and stuff like that.
Keggers, bonfires.
Yep, you got it. LSD was real big. The Vietnam vets were coming back, and they brought with them a lot of LSD. I never liked marijuana, believe it or not, and I smoked it, and it just always made me sick and dizzy, and I never smoked pot, but I did a lot of LSD, and that led me to, I'm not going to blame drug use and drinking on dropping out of school. That switch went on. I was already headed down that road anyway. I think it just made it happen a little faster.
Well, it's when school and work interferes with our using.
Yeah, exactly. So I started skipping school. I dropped out of track. I actually had a couple of decent boyfriends that were actually pretty nice guys. I was a girl. I learned early on.
Heck with them.
I had to get nice people. I only dated one other drinker in my whole life, but I always dated really like guys that had factory jobs, you know, with good trucks and good tires on the trucks.
Trying to take care of you.
I needed a babysitter. I figured that one out right away. You know, I didn't use that term. That's a boyfriend, not a babysitter.
Right.
How bad did it get?
It got really bad. I stole a lot. We forged a lot of checks. You know, I stole motorcycles. I actually was
that
first
didn't
time.
belong to you.
Well, wait. I got a question here.
Yeah.
You're going out with good guys that have factory jobs. Why are you stealing and forging checks?
Well, because I'm not hanging out with them.
Oh.
They're just. They're not any fun. They're boring, man.
So they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So I'm hanging out with bad boys, but I have good boyfriends.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. So I had the dual life going on. You know, I like that dual life. You know, like little literature in the 12-step program I'm on talks about, we want to show the world one face, but the other, I live a different lifestyle. I mean, I like that when I ended up selling cars and, eventually graduated to smoking crack at the end. And I rolled down to the hood, I had a suit on in a demo, and I'd be down there shooting dice, and smoking the pipe like a rusty stove. Smoking that thing. And,
easy.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I heard somebody say that one time. I liked it. It was funny.
And basically became a chick in the streets.
Yeah. I ran the streets as a teenager, and the worst thing that ever happened to me is I ran into I was 18 years old, just got out of jail from stealing a motorcycle with one of my bad boys that I ran around with. And went to my best friend's wedding, got drunk at that, and then my parents, who were so sick of me, I just, I just ripped their heart out. I really did. My parents tried to help me. And it caused chaos in my family, just total chaos in the family. We were all becoming teenagers like consecutively.
Yep,
so
every year there's a new
loud
teenager.
and chaotic. So when I got out of jail and they asked me what I wanted for my 18th birthday, I said a backpack because I'm leaving, and they bought me one.
Wow.
I said goodbye. I mean, they weren't, cruel about it, but... So I stayed with this dude named Barry Tucker, who, he's dead now, so I can say his name. He ran John Creasel's General Merchandise in Minnesota. We used to steal from people.
Right.
Back when gold was like, I think $800 an ounce was a really big deal in the early 80s, and we'd rip off people and we'd go in there. So I met him. I stayed with him for a little bit. And a friend of his came down from Lawrence, Kansas, right outside of Kansas City, and his name was Tash. And he was like 34 or 36, I can never remember. And I was 18, and he said, hey, you want to come back to Lawrence, Kansas with me for a couple weeks? He's the one that introduced me to cocaine.
Uh-huh.
So any cocaine users out there, you know the rest of my story.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the bottom for you? What was the bottom?
I couldn't get back up. The bottom for me was... I had been homeless before, and I had been in trouble. I would get things in my life, I was always an ambitious person, so I ended up selling cars and kind of learned how to make money. I could never hang on to anything, so I would lose a job, and then immediately I'd get a new job, a new place to live. So the times that I started to lose things started to get closer together, and the time it took me to get back up started getting further apart until I landed in Pensacola and Florida, where I think that place eats a lot of people up. And that's where I took my knockout punch, and I couldn't get back up. Another DUI, and then I got possession of cocaine. And
so you're locked up now?
Oh, yeah. I've been locked up. I've been in and out locked up all the time. But now I don't have anybody to bail me out. I don't have the nice guys bail me out anymore, So all my the people, what do you call those people? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they are. I mean, they're a special.
Absolutely.
They're a special breed of people. I used to eat them for lunch.
So you're now. How much time you got this time?
Really good with chips.
I got 11 years.
And a pickle.
Yeah, in recovery. Yeah.
No. I meant how much time you're in Pensacola. You're locked up.
Oh my God! I made it a year and a half there.
Okay.
And then I rolled down, like the dry cow turd. We used to kick them across the pasture. And I was a kid, I just kind of rolled down into Clearwater, started painting because I couldn't sell cars anymore because I didn't have a driver's license. And I lost that job from drinking and drugs.
So Pensacola wasn't the bottom?
Oh, yeah, it was. I took my first step in Pensacola. I was not in Alcoholics Anonymous at all at that time, but I took my first step because I'm in trouble for a DUI in one county. They have two counties there. They have a dry county and a drinking county. The other county, I got possession of crack cocaine, okay? Nice. And so they're going to violate me. I'm 3 months of my rent. I'm running from my landlord. I'm living in one of those horrible places where all those people rent a room. I haven't eaten. I probably weigh 88 pounds. Right. And I'm just going to call my PO in the other county for the DUI. Just say, where do I turn myself in? I'm going to do I think I'm going to do a year or two, maybe in the big house. And I remember, I said to God, if that's what it's going to take to get me off this stuff, then so be it. And I felt peace. I really just gave up. But I kept drinking because step one doesn't get you sober. And so it's the only thing I could do is to keep drinking because I didn't know anything else.
Okay, once again, this program has nothing to do with AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. But if that's what that's what happened to you, that's fine.
It is.
So, and you work these 12 steps of recovery is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yep, we're here to share experience, strength, and hope.
That's right. So how did it get better, and what's it like now?
Oh, yeah, it got awesomely better. So as soon as I took my knockout punch, I come in, I have to stay with my parents. I lost my job in Clearwater again, and my parents were down here that are snowbirds down in Fort Myers, Florida. So I called them, and of course I lied. I said, gee, I just got laid off from work, and it's such a shame that I haven't come to visit you. I was really homeless. And so
Had you seen them since they handed you the backpack?
No. I mean, I had seen them a couple times off and on throughout, the decades I was out there. But I really did love my family, and I really did do them a favor by staying away from them,
I get that.
So I came down to stay with them. I met this chick at this bar, and she gave me a one-way bus ticket down to Fort Myers.
Wow.
And they picked me up. Yeah, she was nice, $25. And I stayed at her house and for like 2 days, and I came down to Fort Myers. And I sat at my parents' house. I said I was sick. I had a detox there, so I had the flu. And my mom, after knowing that, I had been, since in trouble since a teenager, after like 3 days, my mom looks at me and she has these, remember I'm adopted, but her lips get really skinny when she's mad. She goes, if I were you, we're not going to charge you any rent, or we're going to be here 6 more weeks, but if I were you, I'd get busy. She was like that. And so I sat around like I had to get a job.
What's that mean?
Get a job
She knew
because
what
we're
that
not going to give you any
kidding.
money and you're going to be homeless. So I said they had liquor in the house. They had liquor in the house, and I never white-knuckled liquor. I never ever tried to control my drinking, only absolutely necessary. And I knew I wasn't going to make it. And I had a moment of clarity where I sat, they were out to dinner, and I opened up the phone book. And I can remember saying, I must be effing crazy. I'm calling,
You can say it.
Okay.
Yeah. You
I'm
called
calling
Alcoholics
AA.
Anonymous.
I'm calling AA. And I called, and it was in a group, and somebody, they asked where my address was, and they gave me the address to the nearest meeting, which happened to be Yana. So when they came home, I asked them to take me to a meeting. And
What is Yana?
Yana is a clubhouse that has AA meetings. It's not AA itself, but it's a meeting that...
And it stands
clubhouse.
for?
It stands for You Are Not Alone.
Amen.
I got sober there. It was a great place for me to get sober.
Me too.
Yana is one of these clubhouses in Southwest Florida. If you're listening to the program from other parts of the country, we are broadcasting from Cape Coral, Florida. So go ahead.
Yeah. So my dad took me there, and I'm like, I don't even know, I remember being in the car. Now I'm backpedaling. I really don't want to go, and everything's dark, and I'm looking for a neon sign, so I'm just we'll do a tuck and roll out of the car, and you turn
Maybe
the
I
corner or something.
overreacted.
Yeah. But I didn't know where I was, and it was really dark, so he comes up, it looks like a house, and I'm like, this can't be it. This looks like this would be it. He goes, this is the address. He goes, step out and look, and I got out of the car, and he peeled out.
Smart
and he left
man.
me there. So, but I was out of cigarettes, so I went in there. And I ran into my first sponsor. And this
See what God does?
There's no joke. I walk in, there's a meeting at 6:45. I landed there 6:30, and it was on step 1.
Wow.
And so I knew that was not a coincidence, And I didn't, even though I had that moment of clarity, for the next 30 days, I really didn't have any, it was not really in my plans to get sober. I was just biding my time till I could come up with a new plan,
Yeah.
Have you ever done
Or
that?
a new
It's
man.
like, it'll come to me any moment. And I didn't have anywhere else to go. It was the last house on the left. And so I just kind of did what the lady asked me to do. And before you knew it, it was nice to hear somebody say your name without anything bad being attached to it, or without the whispers in the background, And something happened. Something started to happen to me. And when I was 4 months sober, I started to have a spiritual awakening, and I started to waken up. Everything, I could hear what they were saying intellectually, but it started to hit my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And
it doesn't mean anything till it means something.
Yeah, I did all my steps. I did everything she asked me to do.
Right.
And she got me into helping people right away. She told me my problem was my selfishness and my self-centeredness. And one of the things she did that saved my life was she told me that what was wrong with me, that nobody, I knew something's wrong with you. I knew something was wrong with me. I said, why can't I stop thinking about alcohol? She goes, that's because you have a mental obsession. I'm like, what's that? She goes, why you can't stop thinking about alcohol?
Right.
And I thought I wanted to drink. I thought I was making a choice to drink because I wanted to drink.
Right.
She's like, so you pick up a drink knowing you're going to lose your job, knowing you're not going to see your daughter, know you're going to jail. Well, I want to drink. That's why I'm doing it. She goes, that's insanity. That's insane, Leslie. That's mental obsession. Then she told me about the compulsion, how my body, I'm made different than other people. And once I ingest alcohol, that I can't stop. I either can't control it, or I can't stop or stay stopped.
Good.
And I never knew that. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And that was the first time I heard that was the shoe that fit.
And you felt that you'd heard the truth.
Yeah, I had heard the truth. So then I knew why I always wanted to drink, because that I had a disease. And I knew that once alcohol was in my body, I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop or moderate. So I learned that the problem was not taking the first drink, but then how do you do that?
Right. And so then, but you don't do that for a while.
Yeah.
And then everything's perfect?
No. Compared to where I came from, you got to understand.
We like to point that out.
Yeah, but I went uphill pretty quick because, I'm homeless. I'm missing teeth that are broken in the back. My mom bought me a pair of shorts with stretchy elastic with no pockets, from Kmart, and I'm riding a bike that my dad bought me with 2 gears, high and higher, you know, and I had to ride those. No brakes, a beachcomber, it's all rusty, and I'm riding a yawn, and I'm here a semi, and I would look, so please let it just run me over and kill me. You know, I'm riding to this meeting. There's all, you know, no offense to old people, because I'm old, I'm getting old now, but my sponsor's like, no relationships. In the first year, I'm like, don't worry, you know, I'm old, icky, crusty people.
but the thing is,
now I'm crusty and old.
But what happens to us? Don't even talk about this, okay? All right. So what happens to us is that we know, those of us that know, all of us have gone to what our own bottom is. We know that the pain of remaining the same. I don't want to do this anymore. So you're showing me a way out. I'm going to ride the bike. I'm going to wear the stretchy shorts. I'm going to stay out of the relationship, some of us.
For now.
For now, absolutely. And I'm going to stand in the corner and on my head and spit nickels if that's what you tell me to do, so I just don't have to live this way any longer. Because it's either that or I'm going to off myself, because I'm tired. I'm too tired. So you're getting better.
I'm getting better, you know, but I'm doing those things because I don't have anywhere else to go and I have nothing else to
Absolutely.
do. But when I started doing them, something started to happen to me that alcohol would give me. I started to get relief. And I didn't understand that alcohol wasn't my problem. It's that kind of that dichotomy. It is, but it isn't my problem. And that there's something else wrong with me.
Right.
You know, and that's what I started to learn. And those things that they asked me to do starts to quiet those things that are wrong with me.
Absolutely.
And you know, and I don't
That's
feel
a good way
that.
to put it.
Yeah, because they were really loud. So just like the drink, where I would go to the bar, pick up the drink, I started calling my sponsor, because she'd be like, read this page, get on your knees, pray, call me in an hour. I'd do those things. Meet me at Yana in an hour. And that was like, I got that, just a little pinch of that relief off me.
Hour at a time.
Yep. So things got better, because when you come in homeless, everything gets better. And I rented a little room, and I got a job, and I ended up getting my driver's license back, which is a miracle. And I just had more awakening and more awakenings, and because I had a sponsor that taught me to work with others, and the 12th step is how you keep what you have.
Right.
I got into sponsorship and just service work.
Right.
And my life just exploded. I mean, it was just like parting the seas. That was really my experience.
And that's what happens.
And then you had a truly inspired idea.
Yeah, Street Chicks in Recovery came from remembering sitting on the porch at Yana and chain smoking other people's cigarettes and looking at, they gave you all these books, you know, and my family was pretty educated and I could read, but there's a lot of words in them. And I remember the meditation books were like the spirit winds through the mountain. And I mean, I was just like not there. I'm like, how the that gonna help me? Spoken, you know, I just couldn't. You're not on the 11th step when you're brand new, you know. So, I mean, I love God and everything, but, you know, I got 2 feelings, terror and rage, okay? That's like the only thing. So, I'm like, somebody needs to write a meditation book for Street Chicks. And then 10 years later, I stared doing it. It just came on my heart.
That's how it started.
That's how it started.
What is it? Tell us about what Street Chicks in Recovery.
Well, Street Chicks in Recovery is... Street Chicks in Recovery is, we're an organization that we tell women's stories in recovery. I'm basically copying Bill W. You know, he says, tell them what happened to you. So we're telling the world, this is what happened to us.
Right.
In plain language.
In plain language, and we're telling them, you know, through animation, through booklets. We're doing film now. We have a TV show that's taped that we're on twice a month, and you can see it on YouTube on www.streetchicks.net. And we have, we're starting to hire and train people in recovery. My ultimate goal is to hire and train women in recovery. We have a couple guys that work for us too. And we're going to tell our story. And I want to sell my cartoon to primetime TV. So just like The Simpsons, you can watch Street Chicks in Recovery about 5 fictional women that live in the lost and found halfway house.
Wow.
It's already on, you mean?
No, we're working on, my first animator, we did some poppin' animation, which is on our website.
Sure.
And I just got 2 new 2D animators. So we're working on that.
What is that? What is a 2D animation?
Well, 2D, you're probably familiar with 3D animation. Like a lot of the Pixar stuff is 3D.
Okay.
And so 2D is like Simpsons is the 2D animation.
Oh, 2D.
Family Guy.
2D.
Yeah. 2D.
Well, he used to smoke crack out of it. Anyway.
No, never.
All right. So that's great. That's great. Give us the contact information if anybody wants to sponsor Street Chicks in Recovery. How do they get a hold of you?
They can, Leslie Robinson, 239-940-0673, or they can email me at info@streetchicks.net.
Do you have a page on the Facebook?
Yes, we do, and that is... gosh, I always forget this page. Sorry, guys.
I think you just go onto the Facebook and punch in.
Yeah, you can go to streetchicks.net, and we have icons up there. You can click on the Facebook page, and you can like us on Facebook. Yeah. Well, we're probably going to do some Kickstarter stuff once I get some more materials, and I can build up my fan page. I'm going to go full-time Street Chicks in April, so I'm going to really try to sell the company.
And you've gone from one woman talking about an idea to all of these things that you have in the works, and then how many people do you actually have working with you now?
We have 4 people. Including myself. Amazing. Yeah, we have a studio in Cape Coral.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen of the studio audience, let's give Leslie a nice round of applause. Once again, if you're just joining us, number one, you're late, but you're listening to Rated R for Recovery. We broadcast live from Studio 7 Cafe and Coffee House here on Del Prado Boulevard in lovely Cape Coral, Florida. You can hear us on iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, and thanks to Captain Brian at Captain Brian's Off the Hook Comedy Club, podcastcafelive.com. We're going to take a short pause right now. When we come back, we're going to go with a little bit of music, aren't we, Joy?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Got a little bit of music.
A little bit of music, and then some questions from the audience. You're listening to Rated R for Recovery.
That's gonna leave a mark. But not if you bring your vehicle to D-Hab Your Automotive Rehab, your one-stop shop for all auto body work and paint. No job too big or small. With over 25 years experience, D-Hab can make your vehicle look like the accident never happened. D-Hab Your Automotive Rehab is located at 2534 Highland Street, 1 block off Edison Avenue in Fort Myers. So if you have a scratch, ding, dent, or bent, call D-Hab Your Automotive Rehab at 332-1813. Have you been considering a kitchen renovation or bathroom remodeling? There's no one better to call than the professionals at Honey's Construction. Value, beauty, and functionality. Get the right design for your kitchen or bathroom and add significant value to your home. Call Honey's Construction today at 229-4934 for a free in-home consultation. Honey's Construction's purpose and mission is to fulfill dreams and to be grateful for the many blessings we enjoy each and every day. 229-4934. Get the taste of home while eating out. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering. Open daily for breakfast and lunch and located at 2400 First Street in downtown Fort Myers. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering specializes in homemade soups, salads, sandwiches, and desserts. And Gwendolyn's has been rated 5 stars by Urban Spoon and Yelp. Get the taste of home while dining out. Or let us bring the taste of home to your home with our free delivery. Gwendolyn's Cafe and Catering, 2400 First Street, downtown Fort Myers.
Every Friday night at 6:45 p.m., experience Celebrate Recovery at Grace Church at 13 Southeast 21st Place in Cape Coral. The purpose of Celebrate Recovery is to encourage fellowship and to celebrate God's healing power in our lives as we work our way along the road to recovery. By working through the 12 steps and 8 principles of Celebrate Recovery, we grow spiritually and we are freed from our hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Celebrate Recovery every Friday night at 6:45 p.m. at Grace Church, 13 Southeast 21st Place in Cape Coral.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254.
Bust a gut laughing at Off the Hook Comedy Club inside Captain Brian's Seafood and Raw Bar.
For tickets, call 239-389-6900. That's 389-6900. Or visit OffTheHookComedy.com. Off the Hook Comedy Club inside Captain Brian's Seafood and Raw Bar. Enjoy the best raw bar in Southwest Florida and a menu of delicious entrees like juicy prime rib and the best seafood, period. Located at 599 South Collier Boulevard, Suite 218 on Marco Island, across from the Hilton Hotel. Visit OffTheHookComedy.com.
J&J Appliance Repair, Inc. is a Christ-centered company of 3 years. We operate our company using God's golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. That is honestly, dependably, and as quickly as possible at a fair price. That's just what we do. With 30-plus years experience, we keep updated through continuing education. We repair all makes and models, as well as install dishwashers and hot water tanks. There's vent cleaning, which includes the dryer. We're family-owned and operated, insured, licensed, and service Lee County. Call 239-440-4452.